Good morning, everybody. At least it's morning for me. It is Saturday, and as you can see behind me, it's early. It's also raining, which is good because this morning I'm going to go out there to the swarm that we've been talking about, close the dial on the front so that it keeps the bees in, and they're in this morning anyway because it's raining. And that way, when the sun comes out today around 11 or 12, I'll have all the bees captured in there. I won't have any bees that were out foraging when I closed the dial, so I can move the swarm that we call it to their permanent home in a big 8-frame box. So that's what we're going to do. I just wanted to say that it's 6:02. So again, it's really early. So when you're moving swarms, you either have to close them in early in the morning before the foragers get out, or at night once it gets dark when all the foragers are in. So your goal is to capture as many bees as you possibly can in the swarm trap or in the hive that you're moving, so that you don't lose bees, obviously, when you move it. So if it sounds like I'm in an aviary, I'm not in an aviary. I'm on my back porch, but the wrens have decided that it's actually their porch, and they have moved in behind all of our exterior speakers. So if you hear a lot of birds, that's why. Okay, so at this point you see that the door is open, the circle is open, and that the bees can easily come in and out, but they're not because it's raining. So I just simply close the dial to where the little holes are so they can still get some air, but they can't get out. And hopefully there are no cracks in the box. But we will now go inside, get ready for a moving day once the sun comes out. All right, everybody, we've got the swarm trap strapped in, which is very important when you're moving bees or beehives. Make sure you have them strapped in really nice because they don't like to get vibrated around very much. And a friend who will remain nameless, Tim Stamper, helped me beekeep, Tim Stamper, and in the beginning, Tim Stamper said, let's go and do a grab and go, which meant I didn't know, but it means you back up to a beehive, you grab them really quick, and you throw them in the back of the truck. Well, we didn't have the beehive strapped down well enough. The beehive fell over, and the bees tried to kill us. So I will never make that mistake again, Tim Stamper, again. So make sure you have it strapped down. Bring your smoker, make sure you don't forget that. I put it inside a 5-gallon bucket. You can hang it on the side. Put a couple of bricks in there. Oh, the sun's coming out, nice. A couple of bricks in there, that way it doesn't tip over and catch your truck on fire too. Good tips. See you soon at the place where these guys are going. Okay, here's the bees' permanent home. What's different about this than the swarm trap is, instead of having just 5 frames, this guy has 8 frames. So I'm going to take the 5 out of here, put them in here as quickly as possible. Then I put this guy on top. It's a top board, it's what I call it. I don't know technically, but I'm calling it a top board. That goes on top, gives the bees a little ventilation, gives me a little protection when I take the lid off. Once this is a fully working hive, it gives me a little bit of time before I lift the lid before they can get out. It also has this groove touch notched in, so you turn it over and it leaves a little ventilation, and if I push the lid a little bit forward or backward depending on where I position it, another point of entry for the bees. So there's your board, and then of course that's the top. The other neat thing about the bigger hive is I can close the hive with a very small hole here, and that way only a few bees can get in at the time. I can turn it so more bees get in, or I can take it away completely. So I know my hive is a new hive, and I don't want them to be robbed by other bees. So I'm going to start off today and tomorrow, a couple of days really, and just leave them with only a little bit of entry and exit point. They've been using just the hole anyway, so they're used to that. So that's what I'm going to do. Also, what I'll do once I get them in there, I will put a stick or something in the front of the hive, so when they initially come out for the first time to go foraging, they'll realize, wait a minute, we're not in the same location. They'll start circling the hive and reorienting. That way they don't just take off and they're gone, and then they're like, wait a minute, we're not where we were. They can't find the hive again. So what I'm going to do now, open the hive up, start smoking them, quickly transfer them as quick as possible, shut them up, move them, and check on them in a couple of days. I really want to smoke them to keep them in there. And then I want to move them as quickly as I can. And I will position them in the exact same order they came out of here. Because they don't know they're being moved. And as you can see, we don't have a lot of bees flying around, which is great. Again, that's why doing it on a cooler day is better, and smoking them heavily is good. Okay, all the bees have been transferred in the box. Hardly any are flying around. Again, rainy and cool is a great time to move them. I smoked them really heavily so that they wouldn't want to get out. They wanted to stay in there and preserve and protect the honey, or suck it up in case it was a fire. So pretty much 99% of the bees made it back into the box. I'll leave the old swarm box right outside the door here, just in case there are any. Well, I know there are like 5 or 6 in there, but not many. They'll eventually make their way in. I've put a brick on the top. You always put a brick on the top just in case possums or raccoons or anything try to get into the hive. And put a couple of branches of little trees. This is a fern. Put that kind of in the front of the hive so that when they first come out, they will recognize that something's a little different, and they'll start orientating